Yo, welcome in, man. Today is January the 6th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Bunch of games on the board for today. We're going to do the thing like we always do, man. We'll get into a quick recap, go through a couple comments, and then jump into the games for today. So real quick, I think I sent out OKC Boston yesterday. That was the right side up until it was the wrong side, man. Got to get it Thunder their credit, man. They do not play two bad halves of basketball. Boston stopped moving the basketball, couldn't make a three in the second half. OKC defensively, probably a little bit better than Boston. They still can struggle offensively, but the defense does lead the offense for them. So Boston was the wrong side yesterday. Loved the pick. They got out big lead, double-digit lead at halftime. Tatum started getting the shot thrown off the backboard. Isaiah Hartenstein started dunking on people, but neither here nor there. It was a loser. Retrospect, maybe Boston first half was the play. Lakers was a winner, barely a winner, plus 4.5. We talked about that yesterday on the show. And then I sent out the Utah team total under in the fourth quarter. A lot of people probably couldn't get it in, but I tried to send it out as soon as the third quarter ended. Ended up being a loser. The Jazz ended up scoring the basketball, ended up putting 28 up on the Magic, even though they had a lead going into the fourth quarter. Magic really just looked depleted yesterday. Wasn't expecting them to give that many points, especially without the lead in the fourth quarter. So at the end of the third quarter. So that ended up being a loser too. So needing to get back on track, man. Hopefully we can do that today. Let's go through a couple comments and then we're going to jump into it. Try to be efficient as well today. A lot of games. It's a fact, man. First thing in here this morning says, is it just me or is the NBA really hard to cap this year with all these injuries and blowouts? He says, thanks for all your hard work you put in to try to get us to some winners. And that's exactly what we try to do. Snow day is a fact. It's probably snowing in Indiana. It's I think it just stopped here in Virginia, dropping down. So yeah, we definitely getting some snow as well. Morning, Mitchell. Morning, Lewis. Morning, G Herd. Good morning, Marquise. The guys in here with me. The Thundercats just build different, man. Great game there. It was a good game. Prolific echoing them same sentiments from Jamie earlier. Morning, Christian. He says, I gotta tell myself, parlay killers. It's a lot of them, man. That's why I don't see how people be parlaying. Good morning, Eric. More life sway. Feel like I ain't seen you in here in a while. Good morning. All right, I got some bets for today. I definitely got some bets for today. What up, J-Man? Merrill in here with us as well. J-Man dropping some trends. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Tasha. Trying to get through all these. Good morning, Charles. He says Lake Show Live was an easy winner at half. They still end up covering the plus 4.5 too, but they had a chance to, actually win the game. If I guess you probably can't let Max Christie throw that inbound pass in right to Fred VanVleet. But you also can't go down. Like, it wasn't on that play. You can't go down 20 points to a Houston Rock. You can't give up 70 points at halftime to the Rockets. That was the Rockets' second most points scored. Just when you think the Lakers are going to play some defense, they say, no, we're not. We don't play defense. What's that? We're not athletic enough. We're not young enough. That's frustrating. Morning, Mark. Good morning, Burns. My guy Justin in here with me as well. Project Boys Grow says, good morning. Let's get this money. Let's jump into it for today, man. First thing we always do is talk about what jaXon is thinking. So first game on the board today is the Detroit Pistons and the Portland Trail Blazers. I asked jaXon about the spread in this one. jaXon tells me, and you guys can see it, it's all over the screen. If you're new to the show, jaXon is an AI sports betting tool that you can utilize to help analyze information for games. You can see ties, you can see totals, you can see player props. So save yourself a ton of time getting your research done. Let jaXon do it for you. Use promo code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's at jaXon. The link for this is in the description of the video. Check it out. Save yourself some time and make yourself some money, man. jaXon wins a lot more than it loses. All right, so Portland and Detroit. We'll start with Detroit recent form. The Pistons on a 3-game winning streak have been solid against the spread, going 3-2 in their last 5 games. They're listed as 6.5-point favorites in this game, which reflects their improved form and home court advantage. Offensive and defense Offensive defense, Detroit has been slightly better defensively, allowing 108.4 points per 100 possessions over the last 5 games, compared to Portland 116. The defensive rating of 110 is significantly better than Portland's defensive rating of 118.06, indicating a strong ability to limit the opponent's scoring. ATS trends, the Pistons, 18-17 on the season, have covered 10 of their last 15 games when scoring above their average point total of 111.8. However, 0-1 against the spread when they're favored by 6.5 this season, which is worth noting. Okay, so then you get to the Portland side of things. Recent form for the Blazers, they've struggled defensively and all on 116 points per game in their last 5 games. They're 2-3 against the spread in their last 5, reflecting inconsistency in covering spreads. Offense and defense, Portland offensive rating 113, slightly better than Detroit's, which is also 113, but 0.68 versus 0.27. But their poor defensive rating, 118.6, is a major liability. They rank 25th in points scored at 107.9 and 23rd in points allowed at 116.8 this season, which highlights their struggle on both ends. You got ATS trends. Blazers 17-17 this season, have covered 12 of their 14 games when allowing fewer points than their season average. However, their defensive struggles make it difficult to trust them to cover consistently. The Pistons and Blazers have split their last 2 matchups. Detroit winning 128-122 on February 24th, and Portland winning 110-101 in November 2023. Detroit's improved defense and home court advantage could play a significant role in this matchup. So jaXon likes Detroit -6.5. It says the Pistons' recent form, stronger defense, and home court advantage make them a better pick to cover the spread. Their ability to limit opponents' scoring just 108.4 points allowed per game in their last 5 gives them an edge over the Portland Trailblazers' struggling defense. While the Blazers have shown flashes of offensive potential, their defensive inconsistencies, 118.06 defensive rating, make them unlikely they can keep the game within 6.5 points. So jaXon likes the 6.5. I don't know if I can get there with the 6.5, but that is jaXon. Let's jump into the first matchup: Portland Trailblazers and Detroit Pistons. We just talked about it. All right. So real quick injury report. Ayton is listed as probable after initially being listed as doubtful. Initially being listed as questionable. It looks like he is going to play in this spot. Him and Jeremy Grant are the 2 people on the injury report. Jeremy Grant is listed as out. I think this is like 4th or 5th game that he's going to miss because of the face injury, facial contusion, I think is what it was. On the opposite side, Detroit's going to be healthy outside of, of course, not having Jaden Ivey, who's done. So I looked into the head-to-head matchup. Portland has been good against Detroit. They've actually dominated the head-to-head matchup. They won 8 of the last 9 meetings. Crazy to think that the Portland Trailblazers have beaten you that many times in a row. But Detroit did win the last game. The last time that these 2 teams played, Detroit did win. For Portland, 3rd straight road game. They're coming off the win against the Bucks the other day on Saturday. For Detroit, 3rd game in 4 nights and 4th game in 6 nights. I don't like laying points with Detroit. I definitely don't like laying points with teams in this spot, even though typically they're a dog in this spot and they have been profitable. They have won 7 of their last 10 games, 3 straight against Orlando, Charlotte, and Minnesota. And this is the 4th game with his homestand for them. So Detroit, I like Detroit a lot more as a dog than as a favorite. On the season, as a favorite when they're laying points, just 1-5 against the number at home. And especially on the 4th game in 6 nights. I don't like this spot a lot for Detroit, especially coming off the big win. I know that they've been kind of balling. They put it together, beat the Timberwolves the other day. Portland isn't great. They're just 3-7 against the spread, coming off a win as a dog because they did just beat the Bucks the other day. And they're 0-4 in their last 4 games, coming off a win as a dog. So trends kind of disagree with both of these teams. The way I look at these teams, I think that this game is an under game. 225.5 is the total on most books. I think it's still kind of set right there. If I'm taking the under, that means I got to trust Portland defensively, which in my opinion, they kind of match up well. They kind of match up well with the Detroit Pistons as far as what they like to do. So I'm looking at Detroit defensively first. Talk about Detroit. Detroit they held Orlando to 96 points. They held Charlotte to 94 points. And I know you're thinking like, okay, cool. Those are two of the worst offenses in the league. Orlando missing a lot of players. Charlotte was missing LaMelo and Brandon Miller, and that's true. But then they held Minnesota to 105. So 3 teams they've held under 106 points in their last 3 games. Portland isn't a great offensive team. We just cashed on Portland team total under against the Bucks. Portland has actually scored 105 against the Bucks, 106 against the Lakers, and 103 against the Philadelphia 76ers. When I look at the Portland Trailblazers on the season, 13-5 to the under on the road, 72%, including 5-1 to the under in their last 6 games. If the total is set higher than 225, they're 7-2 to the under as well. And those games are averaging just 215 points. Last 5 games, I look at pace-wise. Portland's 22nd in pace. Detroit's 19th in pace. Detroit's 16th in defensive rate. 6th in defensive rating. They really picked it up. 3rd in opponent offensive rebound rate, which is important because Portland lives on the glass. They get a ton of offensive rebounds, especially with Aiden, Klingon. Who else they got down there? Robert Williams. Detroit also 3rd in offensive rebound rate themselves. So Detroit's a good offensive rebounding team. Portland gives up the 10th fewest offensive rebounds. So it feels like a spot where Detroit shouldn't get a lot of second chance opportunities, which should limit their offense as well. Lately, neither of these teams been scoring a lot in transition. So I like under 225 in this game. I have not played it yet. I know that Portland can be, extremely inconsistent on the defensive end, but I think they do match up with Detroit in this spot. So under would be my recommendation, under 225, 225 and a half. Didn't really look into any player props in this one. All right, that's the quick cap there. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Actually, wasn't that quick. What up, J. Aries? Same day parlay says, let's hear those player props. I don't got anything in this game, but I couldn't talk anybody off Cade. Cade's always kills. And he's been cooking, man. He's definitely been cooking. Morning Killing says, morning fam, Clippers +3. Not thinking about it twice. We're going to jump into that right there. J-Man says, Cap Cade last night. Might be a popular play today. I heard his name on a few shows. That's almost an auto fade. So, I mean, we thinking about the game. Let's just think about it. He's probably going to end up drawing Kamara, right? That's probably the best. Well, not probably. It's definitely the best defender on the Portland Trailblazers is Tamari Kamara. Kamara's a really good defender. He actually just locked up. I wouldn't say locked up, but he can guard guards. He can guard bigs. He can guard Dame. And he can guard, but slow down Dame and slow down Giannis in the same game. So I don't feel comfortable with the Pistons laying this many points, man. Cade could have a great game. I'm not betting on Cade today though. I'm gonna chill on Cade. Let's see. I may go Cade over his points, rebounds, and assists. J-Man says, "What up, TC Bets? Since Pistons looking good as a recent, and the Lions are rolling. Yeah, it's a good time to be a Detroit sports fan for sure." Let's see. Cade for 30. Want to take the Blazers, Brian says. I kind of want to take the Blazers too, Brian. If I'm being honest with you, I know they've been extremely inconsistent. I don't want to lay 6.5 with the Pistons though. I just gave you guys the numbers. They're 1-5 against the spread. Laying points is a favorite. J-Man says they're giving it up to the point guard position though. Merrill, here we go. Malik Beasley over 17.5 points and assists. Cade over 15.5 rebounds and assists. Same day says scared of Beasley. He's so random. I did see this, Jeff. Chauncey got a standing ovation at the Lions game last night at Ford Field. I did see that. We know he's a long-term Piston, part of the Bad Boys team that won in 03. Or was that 02? But yeah, Chauncey will probably have his guys up for this one. Portland, like I said, they've played Detroit really, really tough. And I always go back and look at those head-to-head matchups because, in my opinion, sometimes they mean something when the team hasn't changed that much. And not to say that Detroit hasn't gotten a lot better, because they have, but the core group of guys is still the same. So yeah, I think Portland can keep the game close too, man. And I think it's an under spot as well. Justin says Billups was at the Lions games last night, so he's been partying in detail and not focused on coaching. Oh no, I don't know, Justin. It could be the opposite today, man. 1-3 on the road is Portland. J-Man says on Mondays. Denny Avdia over his 16.5 points and assists from Merrill, and over his 11.5 rebounds and assists as well. Sir Thompson over his points and rebounds. Dougie Bone says his brother hooped last night, man. Boy, he hooped last night against us. He is definitely a dog. He is a dog for sure. They probably gonna need him because there's some dogs on the other side as well. Pistons under might be a cash cow rest of the season. They would really miss Ivy's offense, Drop a Dime says. Unless Malik Beasley turns into Malik Beasley that can make 8 threes again, which he did against everybody bet on him on Friday against Charlotte. He couldn't score the basketball. The game before against Orlando, couldn't score the basketball. Nobody takes him against his former team, the Timberwolves, and he can't miss a shot, man. Malik Beasley hit his points prop, I think, at halftime. He had 14, I think, at halftime. He was set at 14 and a half the next game, the game before, couldn't score to save his life. Nadia says Kamara over his points and rebounds. Cade all overs. Tasha says backwood this game. Chauncey Billups bobblehead night, Jeff says. Okay, I didn't see that. I'll look a little bit deeper into Chauncey Billups bobblehead night. What up, Reams? Is what's good, Chris? Let's get it, bro. Lakers covered, but damn, man. And I feel the same. It's the game you got to win, man. You can't lose to the. I know the Rockets are supposed to be good. You got to be able to beat the Rockets, man. All right, let's jump into it. Enough time on this game. Portland plus the points for Parlay J. Yeah, I'm glad you got it back, J, man. All right, let's keep going. Next game up. Recommendations for this game would be not too strong of a side, but probably look a little bit towards Portland, with Detroit being 1-5 against the spread laying points, and then a look towards the under 225.5. It did open 226.5, so it is coming down. I like 225.5. Under would be my recommendation in this game. Next one up, we got the Suns and the 76ers. Very difficult game to handicap. This total did open, I think, 226.5, 227. It's down to 223 now. And the spread really hasn't moved a lot. Open 3. I saw threes last night, up to 3.5 now in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. As far as injury report, we got Royce O'Neal out for the Phoenix Suns. Only guy listed. On the Philadelphia side, we got Kelly Oubre listed as game time decision. He's questionable. We got Kyle Lowry listed as game time decision. He's questionable. KJ Martin is out. And then Joel Embiid, of course, is always on the injury report. He's listed as questionable for this game as well. So these two teams played already earlier this season. So you get a little bit of revenge here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Phoenix beat them back on November the 4th, 118-116. Kevin Durant hit a shot, I think, with 24 seconds left to kind of put the game out of reach. They were laying 7 points at the crib and only ended up winning the game by 2. That game did go over to 222.5 points. Philly didn't have Embiid in that game, but Maxey and PG did play. Maxey went crazy. He had 32 points. PG only had 15 points. And Kevin Durant had 35. Bill and Booker both played in that game as well. So I think we got to start with the updated lineup. According to sources, there's going to be a shakeup in the lineup for the Phoenix Suns. Looks like they're going to move Bradley Beal to the bench for the first time all season. Him and they do get Yusuf Nurkic back. This will be his first game back since the little dust up that he had with Najee Marshall coming back from suspension in this game. So both of those guys are moved to the bench. You got Mason Plumlee and Ryan Dunn, who are going to be starting in this game for those two players. Phoenix trying to look. This is a super desperation spot for Phoenix. We talked about it the other day against the Indiana Pacers. They were tied in that game at halftime. It was 50-50, and they get smoked in the third quarter. Couldn't get a stop in the third quarter against a fast-paced Indiana, really good Indiana offense. So I feel like this is a kitchen sink game. I've been saying that for a while with the Phoenix Suns, so it don't make me want to back them in this spot, but I don't think I look towards Philly in this spot. This is one where I'm going to sit on the sideline, and I'll probably just end up watching this game. Let's jump into it, though. I do got a player prop that I like. So we got a Phoenix team. I said that they've been struggling 3-7 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. They've lost 4 straight, only covered 1 of their last 4 games. Their last 4 spreads, also 7-2-1 to the under in their last 10 games. They started the season, the Phoenix Suns did 8-1, and they're 7-17 since then. That's crazy to think. Looking at the Philadelphia 76ers, two teams kind of going in the opposite direction because Philly started the season 3-14, and they're 11-5 since they started 3-14. So Philly 7-3 straight up in their last 10 games, 5-5 against the number. They're coming off a spot where they absolutely beat the brakes off the Brooklyn Nets, beat them by 29. It's the first leg of first game back on the East Coast for them. First game back home for them, and coming off a 6-game road trip, and it's a 4th game in 6 nights. This spot says Phoenix. If you're a spot better, you like the Phoenix Suns here. Whereas Phoenix has only played 1 game so far this season. This is the 4th game in 6 nights for the Philadelphia 76ers. What's crazy in my mind, just looking at the last couple games here, the Phoenix Suns are the 25th offensive rated team over the last 5 games. All that talent, and they're scoring the 5th fewest points. They're 27th in effective field goal percentage, and they foul a ton. 24% opponent free throw rate, which means that which really stands out in this spot because Philly is shooting the most free throws of any team in the league over the last 5 games. Phoenix is also giving up the 2nd most offensive rebounds over the last 5 games. Not that Philly is a great offensive rebounding team, but I thought that was something to note. I can't quite get too aside in this game, man. I'm not willing to bet against the desperation spot that the Phoenix Suns are in. I know that defensively they've been really, really struggling. I think adding Ryan Dunn in and putting Bill on the bench could be helpful because Bill's been trash. I think he scored 11 points in that last game. He's dealing with some injuries, blah, 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 blah. Like, I really wanted to get there with under, but then when I was watching Coach Mike Budenholzer talk about the post-game interview against the Pacers, he said that they want to play faster. They want to play faster, and that does not make me want to bet an under, especially at 223. So I'm gonna stay off of this game. Lean Phoenix, I guess. Lean under 225, under 220. Lean over 223. Teams, the spot that I talked about as far as like first game back home off a team that's played 6 of their last 7 games on the road. They only cover about 45% of the time over about a 300 game sample. So I'll lean Phoenix, but I'm probably not gonna get to the window with this one. As far as player prop goes, this will be the first time we go over the Outlier. Show you guys what I was looking at betting here, and it's probably my favorite look on the full game. And it's Paul George. This is Outlier for people that are interested in looking at this software that I'm using. This is a link in the description of the video where you can get a 7-day free trial to check out Outlier. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, get rid of it. But this is Outlier. This is Paul George. This is Paul George points plus rebounds, right? So this is where we start. This is Paul George points plus rebounds. So I like under 220, 22 and a half here. Number only available last night when I was looking at this was on FanDuel. So minus 122, a little bit of juice attached, but you can see Paul George last 10 games. He's under in 7 of his last 10 games. Paul George has not been doing great, specifically scoring the basketball. He had this one big game against Sacramento with Joel Embiid not playing. He also just not a great rebounder. I feel like his rebounds under 5.5 is probably a good look as well. Suns just don't rebound the ball enough for me. So we factor this, right? We factor this with games played. You can look at Joel Embiid in, which we are expecting him to play. On the full season so far, you can see that Paul George has played again. He's played in 13 games with Joel Embiid on the floor. He's only gone over this number 3 times. Against the Knicks back on November the 12th, against the Miami Heat in Miami, barely went over the number. And then against the San Antonio Spurs at the crib, he went over the number. But you can see 3, 4, 5 games in a row with Joel Embiid in, Paul George stayed under this number of 22.5 points plus rebounds. I just kind of feel like so under in 9 of the last 10 with Joel Embiid on the floor. If we just go last 10, you can see he's only up and over 1 time. So he's only averaging 9.5 rebound chances. All of that stuff is down here at the bottom. 9.5 rebound chances, shooting just 38% from the floor. You can see that number right here. 25% from the 3-point line. He struggled to knock down threes. All these are games with Joel Embiid on the floor, of course. Seems like he just has a hard time finding a rhythm with both Maxey and Embiid playing. I also think he's probably going to draw Kevin Durant in a major desperation spot. And Durant's still a plus defender in my opinion. So I like Paul George under 22.5 points plus rebounds in this game. It's my top look, I think, in this one specifically. Let's go through the comments and see what you guys are thinking about this one. Fading the Suns. I I kind of feel like a lot of people would. Merrill says he's not, though. Suns +3 for him. B. Felly says also Bill under 18.5 points plus rebounds and KD under his 4.5 assists. So Bradley Beal going to the bench. He may play better off the bench, though, B. Philly. I don't think I really want to fade him. I know he's been trashed, but I don't think I want to fade him coming to his new role. He'll be able to go out there and score the basketball with that second unit. Suns 0-1 on the road, ATS on Monday. Oh, man. Merrill says Tyus Jones over his 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Okay. Mr. Nice Guy says, give me the Suns. They win this and go on long 5+ game winning streak. Thinks they about to get it started. Okay. Brian says he leads Suns as well. Like the under in this one. Can say okay. I kind of was looking towards over with the total dropping, but I was looking under. But I think the Phoenix Suns are gonna play a little bit faster. Here's what scares me a little bit. Just diving a little bit deeper into the total, because I thought about this total long and hard. I didn't pull the trigger on it because kind of I don't know. I feel kind of indifferent about it now. But if we look at the Phoenix Suns and we look at the Philadelphia 76ers, the Sixers are a really good solid defensive team, especially with having Joel Embiid back. They've been playing a little bit slower as well. Here's what scares me a little bit about the total though. If you like the under, is that Phoenix eventually gonna get their offense going, in my opinion. Like I said, they've only averaged 106.6.5 points per 100 possessions over their last 5 games. But if they start to play faster, which they are capable of playing fast, they've been playing slow recently. They can play fast though. Philadelphia 76ers are bottom 10 defense and transition defense. Coming off that big win against the Brooklyn Nets the other day, that scares me a little bit. Philly giving up the 6th most points in transition. Allowing teams to run at the 6th fastest rate in transition, and they're giving up giving their bottom 10 in opponent points allowed per 100 possessions. So if Phoenix starts to play fast, I do think this one can sneak up and over the total. So I stayed away from the total in this one, but those are my thoughts. Why? Julio says he keeps fading OKC. You got to be new here, Julio. I faded OKC. I've only talked about fading OKC twice. I've made a ton of money with OKC this season. Let's see. If you're talking about me, I don't know if you're talking about me. He says, can't trust the Suns on the road without Royce O'Neal. Parlay J says, Brian says it's a Phoenix spot. I don't trust him. Embiid should eat tonight inside 30 and 15. Okay, I can see that. Suns a fraud, Nando says. Can't trust Phoenix or Philly. Give me Philly 3.5 and the under in this game. Phoenix has been underachieving. Justin says fading OKC sounds crazy to me. Everyone laughed yesterday when I was on OKC. Not everybody. A lot of people was on OKC and ended up being on OKC with you, Justin. A lot of people ended up being on OKC yesterday. Maybe you fade OKC in the first half because they like going down 10 and coming back. Suns plus 3.5. Okay, we got a little Suns love here. Little Suns love here. Home or road, it doesn't matter. Chris Paul's been Paul George, I'm sorry, has been struggling. Let's see. I want to see how that work out too, Malik. I probably won't play this, man. Probably will not play this one. Mark says hoping the Suns get it together, but I'll just watch. That's how I'm kind of feeling about it too. We'll learn a lot about the Suns today for sure. I like that people not forcing it in the chat. Suns defense bad. Who can stop Embiid and Maxey? We'll see. We shall see, man. We shall see. Next game up. Let's go over. I lean PG under his 22.5 points plus rebounds, but did not pull the trigger on that one quite yet. I was hoping for a better number on some of the other sports books today if those combo numbers start to come out. All right, next one up. We got Magic and Knicks. This line is moving on the move right now. Opened 10 up to 11.5, 12 I see on a couple sports books right now. 12 actually popping up live right now. And I mean, how could you not look towards the Knicks in this spot, man? We got Orlando on the second leg of a back-to-back. They have a couple, like the injury report for the active guys is starting to get longer now. So we know no Paolo, no Franz, no Mo. But then also Jalen Suggs missed the game yesterday. Not sure if he's going to play today on the second leg of a back-to-back. Gary Harris was out and Anthony Black was out. Orlando really struggled to score the basketball yesterday. On the Knicks side of things, you got Jalen Brunson listed as probable, Cat listed as questionable. He did kind of lead the game against the Chicago Bulls at the end of the game. So we'll see if he's available to play. It's not a good spot for either one of these teams, in my opinion. Orlando's second leg of a back-to-back with travel from Orlando last night. They're coming off a bad loss to the Jazz by 13 points, where they were 9-point favorites. The Jazz ruled out their whole starting lineup but still won the game by 13 yesterday. And then the Knicks, third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights. They've lost back-to-back games versus OKC and Chicago. Haven't lost 2 games all season. Haven't lost more than 2 games all season. Last time they lost 2 games in a row, they lost to I forgot what the teams was. It was Atlanta and somebody else they lost to right before Atlanta, and they ended up smoking the Milwaukee Bucks in that game, in their next game. So did lose back-to-back. OKC got them out the way. Chicago got them out the way. They played 5 of their last 6 games on the road as well. I just kind of look at this game, and I sent the play out last night. I like the Orlando team total under in this spot. I sent it out last night at 99.5. This Orlando offense, I think, is going to definitely continue to struggle to score the basketball. They really can't score, man. Knicks will probably be fatigued in this spot too, but I don't think it's going to come on the offensive side of the basketball. On the defensive side of the basketball, I think it'll be on the offensive side of the ball. I'm thinking the game's going to be played at a pretty slow pace. You got an Orlando team that's 8-2 to the under. In their last 10 games, like I said, they really struggled to score the basketball. 3 straight unders. 6 of their last 7 games have gone under. Orlando's second worst offensive rated team last 5 games, averaging just 104 points, 104.4 points per possession, and shooting 49.5% effective field goal percentage, 21st in free throw rate, 29th in pace. They also struggle to shoot the 3-point shot, of course, specifically on the road, and that's the only glaring weakness for the New York Knicks. The Knicks have been allowing teams to shoot about 20. Their 3-point defense is actually the bottom 5 over the last 5 games. I don't think Orlando is going to be able to spray from the 3-point line today. Like I said, last time Knicks lost 2 games in a row, they played the Bucks, and in the next game, the Bucks had 94 points. And I was looking at the Magic on the road as the dog this season. They're only averaging 104 points. And that was when they were fully healthy in most of those games. So we know that this is triple revenge here. The Knicks have already beaten the Magic 3 times, and now they're double-digit favorites. I think it's an under game. I know that the Knicks probably could kind of name their number in this spot, but I think Orlando's going to struggle to score the basketball. Last 2 times that they played were both in Orlando. The Knicks got the Orlando Magic got to 85, and they got to 81. I'm sorry, 85 and 91, well under this number of 100. So I bet team total under for the not really into laying a lot of points with the Knicks at the crib, but it should be a smash spot for them. I don't like that they're super fatigued in this spot, though. They played a ton of games, a bunch of travel. I think I looked over the course of the rest of the month, the Knicks actually got 2 5-game homestands. So the Knicks and the Pacers have actually been the teams that's traveled more than any other team so far this season, as far as road games. And they'll get to be at the crib for a while now, and that'll be good for them because they need it. They're kind of banged up, going through some injuries. Defensively, I just think that they're going to smother this Orlando Magic team. So I played team total under at 99.5 last night. It had already started dropping to 98 on a couple sports books, and it's still 99.5 on one book. I only see one book. That's the same book I sent it out at, 99.5. It's already dropping to 98. Like I said, Knicks they only gave up 85 and 91 in the last 2 games. And I think the Magic got to 106 with Franz in 3 games ago, but they also had Mo in that game, and Franz and Mo combined for 50 of the 106 points. So now you're missing both of those guys. I think they're going to struggle to score the basketball is my point. That's what I played, team total under. Let's see. Cat up and over same game says, you got to see if he plays, but I guess I couldn't talk you off. Knicks first half, full game. I don't know where Orlando is going to get their scoring from. Team total under, Brian says. Gogo Bataze to get 10 boards, Merrill says. Under Cole Anthony assists. His line was 6.5 last night. Guess how many he had, Dougie Bone says. I want to know. How many? Orlando Tragic. Dropping down says, not the Magic anymore. It's terrible what the injury bug has done to this team, man. Merrill likes Jalen Brunson over his 31.5 points and assists. Sell says, psychic play, Chris. Taking the Magic on the money line. Best of luck, my brother. Knicks off upset loss. Knicks first half. Justin says he don't care what the line is. Okay. Yeah, Knicks first half should get there too. I could see that. Hadn't even thought about Knicks first half. What is the first half number? Probably like 6.5. Yep, 6.5 right now on Caesars. I actually like this. I like that. I'll wait on the cat news, but looks like he is going to be playing. It's moving to 6.5. New York first half minus 6.5. This is up to 7.5 on some books as well. So always shop around, get the best number. But there's a 6.5 out there right now for the New York Knickerbockers. Magic money line. I think at game time, the switch the lineup at the last minute, the Knicks are overrated. Okay. I don't agree with that, but I'm glad you cashed your Charlotte parlay yesterday. 1-800-GAMBLER game time says, man, it's a lot of opinions I don't agree with today. I don't think this is a 1-800-GAMBLER game at all. Knicks 4-0 against the spread, last 4 against the Magic. The other thing I'll tell you guys real quick, I was looking into this. Let me just share this with you guys real quick. So, let's just go season is greater than, because you got triple revenge in this spot, right? Triple revenge for the Magic here. So if a team is coming off losses, 2 in-season losses to the same team, so they got double revenge. Those games typically go under. Those games typically go under. We saw it yesterday with the Hornets and the Cavs. Even with LaMelo and Brandon Miller being rolled in, Hornets had double in-season revenge. Their total was at 223 when they got rolled in. It went up all the way up to 231. It didn't even get to 223. It finished right at 220. So you typically see a lot of these games go under. This season, teams with double in-season revenge are 16-8 to the under, and that's the same spot the Knicks are in today. Knicks team total, I think, set at like 110.5, 111. They don't need to score that many points to win this game. They can score 100 and still win by 15. So yeah, just something to note there. Unders are going in double in-season revenge. Unders are hitting about 66% so far this season. Let's see. What else are you guys thinking in this one? Frank says, gotta wait and see if he plays. I'm with you there. If Brunson and Cat get rolled out, they even give the Magic the money line. Magic may not have one of their starters in this game. Like if Jalen Suggs comes back, they might have one starter. Triple revenge don't mean you're gonna win. It just mean that you typically play hard on the defensive end. Malik says taking Hart rebounds and assists over 14.5. Obviously like it more without Cat. He's been cashing. Josh Hart's been really, really good last few games, getting double-digit rebounds, and we know he can facilitate as well. So under for my official play in this game, Knicks, Orlando Magic team total under 99.5. Next one, we got Bucks and the Raptors. This line opened, I think 6.5 is up to 7, some 7.5s popping up. Total is on the move north. It opened 227 and it's up to 220. It's up to 231.5. So people are expecting points. I guess that kind of makes sense. I just don't really want to rely on the Raptors offense though, which should be a little bit improved with quickly being back. So we get into the injury report. We got Chris Middleton probable, and then Andre Jackson is listed as questionable with an illness. RJ Barrett on the opposite side is the only player that the Toronto Raptors have on the injury report. He's listed as questionable. Head-to-head, these two teams did play early this season. Of course, they didn't have a full strength lineup as far as like Chris Middleton playing and quickly being back. Milwaukee did beat them 99-85 as 9-point favorites in that game. Looking at Milwaukee, this team is like really kind of regressed recently. Back-to-back losses to the Brooklyn Nets and the Portland Trail Blazers. They've lost and failed to cover 4 straight games before their last 5 games. They're 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. So offensively, they've been struggling. Toronto, not great either. 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games. I think they're like 1-18 in their last 19 games. They have not been winning games at all. Only 3-6-1 against the number in their last 10 games. They are coming off 2 days rest in this spot. They did lose by 9 to the Orlando Magic, a depleted Orlando Magic team, and they were 2-point dogs in that spot. This is the 3rd straight home game for them. So I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm listening to Damian Lillard talk about, them trying to find the level of focus that they had when they were playing in the Cup. I have no idea if it's going to come in this spot. All the trends say that most of the in-season trends say that you take Toronto if they're catching points. But the Bucks need a confidence boost and win, man. They really, really do. I can't lay this many points with them on the road. They haven't been profitable. Toronto, I don't really want to get behind because they've been so bad. When I was looking at Toronto, last 5 games, even with everybody that's been playing, except RJ Barrett, of course, he does move the needle a lot. He's missed the last couple games with the illness. But Toronto last 5 games, 25th in offensive rating, 22nd in effective field goal percentage, 24th in free throw rate. This team has really, really struggled. Milwaukee's offense has also been bad, but defensively, they've still been a top 10 team as far as defensive rating. They're 7th in opponent turnover rate, which Toronto can turn the ball over a lot. That's why Orlando beat them the other day. Last 5 games, Milwaukee's 10th in pace, but Toronto's playing at the 3rd slowest pace. I think I would, if I had to play this one, especially with the Bucks playing a little bit better defense and really struggling to score the basketball on the offensive end, they could break out of their shell because Toronto's not a great defensive team. I think all in all, though, Toronto team total under 112.5 would probably be the way that I'm playing this game. Under 112.5 on the Toronto side. I think the Bucks play slow. I think they lock Toronto up in this spot. And it's not, like I said, it's not like their focus won't be in on this game. We just took them team total under for Portland in this spot the other day. Don't want to lay points with the Bucks on the road, but I think defensively they can come in and play hard defensively. Real quick, Toronto, the Bucks are. I gave the numbers out against Portland the other day, and it was a winner on Saturday, and I think we could see that again. Bucks previously lost as a favorite. The Bucks are 7-2 to the under when they're coming off a loss as a favorite, and that game with the Blazers just went under as well. They've held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their 9 opponents under their team total. So I know the total's going up. I kind of lean Toronto team total under 112.5 if I had to play it. Just not really ready to trust them at all. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Back to not trusting the Bucks. So the Bucks have not been profitable. This is one of the reasons why I'm not laying points with them. As a road favorite this season, the Bucks are just 3-5 against the number. They're winning by an average of 1 point. Last time they were a road favorite, they did beat the Pacers. So if you can beat the Pacers, you can definitely smoke the Raptors. But they did beat the Pacers in this spot. I do want to bring up a player prop real quick, but I also want to say this. So Spot says Bucks for time, like over a time frame type thing, like longevity. Road favorites land 6 points or more coming off back-to-back losses as a favorite are 7-50, 70, 50 and 1, which is about 59%. But like I said, the Bucks only 3-5 against the number as a road favorite. I kind of need to see it with the Bucks before I can play them. They're also 1-7. The Bucks are at a rest disadvantage. They do have a 1-day rest advantage in this spot. 1-7 if they're playing with less rest. Whereas Toronto's 12-6 against the spread at the crib, 19-12-2 against the spread as a dog, 16-9 against the spread, coming off a game they didn't cover. So Toronto may get up for this game. Player prop wise, let's look into Mr. Lillard, who I like in this spot. I think Dame should be in a prime time bounce back spot as far as him being able to score the basketball, specifically from the 3-point line. I like Dame threes in this game. So I'll pull this up real quick. All right, so Dame is, we look at his threes here. You can see Dame is up and over the number in only 5 of his last 10 games. He's really been struggling recently. I mean, I wouldn't say struggling. He's still hitting 3. But coming off a game against Portland where he only hit 2, and a revenge spot for himself, like against his old team. He had 4 against Brooklyn, only 3 against the Pacers, and 3 against Chicago Bulls. If you look at Dame last 10 games, only cashed, like I said, 5 of the last 10, been in a rut a little bit. But, I mean, he won't get a better matchup than Toronto. They're 28th overall. 28th overall defensive rated team versus the three-point shot. Against the point guard position, you can see that here. They give up a ton of threes to the point guard position. Last 5 games, they've allowed the second most attempts and the third highest field goal percentage from the three-point line, 41.3%. And the only game that Dame played against them this season, you can see that here, he hit 4. He had 4 in the last matchup when they played last season as well. And you can see the attempts are there as well. So if we go down here, we can look at attempts. 12 attempts in the last game earlier this season and 10 attempts in the game before that. So Damian Lillard threes, minus 110 is the best odds that you can get. So no juice on Dame. I think he has a big game from the three-point line here against a struggling perimeter defense that gives up a ton of threes. That would be my recommendation player prop wise in this one. And like I said, I do lean towards Toronto team total under 112.5. Damian Lillard up and over 3.5 made threes. All right, let's see what you guys are thinking here. Toronto Raptors. Raptors for me, undefeated at home, ATS on and one of the best ATS teams on Monday. Check the numbers. Dame top point score plus 300. Justin put it in his pocket. Merrill says Giannis goes out there, dominates the boards, likes him to get 12. Brian taking the Raptors plus 7. Middleton over his 4.5 rebounds. Scotty Barnes over his 28.5 points. Raptors plus 7. C-Ray says he likes under. Yeah, the total's still going up though. I like the Raptors team total under. The Bucks eventually gonna get it together offensively, in my opinion. Raptors team total under. Marquise likes it. Nice says the Bucks are free falling. Raptors plus 6.5. Maybe Giannis over his points. Okay. Raptors a pass for G Hurt. It's a tough game for sure. What up, AOD? Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Malik says I like the Dame play. He choked the game twice for them against Portland. I expect Giannis or Lillard to play hard. Maybe first quarter for the Bucks spread. I could see that too. Them coming out with something early. Bucks on a 2-game losing streak. They'll be up like a gas station. In and out like a robbery. Good morning, Brucey. Mark says Toronto not the same team as early in the season. They've been losing by double digits, but I don't trust the Bucks yet. I don't trust the Bucks either. Mark, not enough to lay points with them, but I think defensively they can get the job done. Toronto team total under 112.5. The recommendation, Dame to hit 5 threes in this spot. I like it. Let's go to the next one. We got Pacers and the Nets. Line open, I think 8 in favor of the road favorite Indiana Pacers here. Line all the way up now. It was at 9.5. I saw this pop into 10. I kind of felt like it would move that way. I just can't quite lay that many points with the Pacers. So the Pacers are 10-point road favorites now. Total hasn't really moved a ton at all. It's kind of remained the same. It's 222.5. I think that's what I wrote down in my notes yesterday. So you do got you when you think about the Nets, man, you got to think about which version of the Nets you're gonna get. They had about 12 different versions of themselves this season. You got Nets with Schroeder, Nets without Schroeder, Nets with Cam Thomas, Nets without Cam Thomas, Nets with D'Angelo Russell now, Nets without D'Angelo Russell. It's a lot of different versions of the Brooklyn Nets. So Aaron Nesmith is the only person listed out for the Pacers, which he has been for a while, so they'll be pretty healthy. The Brooklyn Nets have D'Angelo Russell listed as questionable, and Ben Simmons also listed as questionable. That's important because that's 2 primary ball handlers. They're going to be without Cam Thomas, without Cam Johnson, and really what that means is they're just going to shoot a ton of threes. The Brooklyn Nets are like if you ever watched the Brooklyn Nets play, I watched them play against Philly the other day. They're really just like a pickup team. They just want to come down, run a pick and roll. Somebody get open from the 3-point line. You don't even got to be open. Just go to the corner. We're gonna pass it to you. They're gonna shoot a bunch of threes. That's what they've been doing. So you got a revenge game here for the Pacers as well. They actually lost to the Brooklyn Nets 99-90 back on December the 4th. They were laying 3.5 points in that game, and that game went under the 226. Indiana's been hot recently, 7-3 straight up and against the spread in their last 10 games. They're coming off back-to-back wins versus the Suns and the Miami Heat. They've scored 128 and 126 in those two games. Offense has been humming lately. A lot of that has to do with Tyrese Halliburton playing a lot better basketball as of late. Brooklyn will be without, I said this already, without both Cams, coming off a 29-point loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. And this is their 4th game in 6 nights, 2nd straight home game for the Brooklyn Nets here. So Indiana still just 6-11 against the spread as a favorite this season. 6-11 when they've covered in their last game. So extremely inconsistent, untrustworthy team for the Pacers. But the Brooklyn Nets potentially without 2 primary ball handlers makes it difficult to want to back Brooklyn here. Brooklyn is about to start tailing off, especially without both of the Cams. I can't quite get there with a Brooklyn team total under either, just because the Pacers defensively are bottom 5 defense over the last 10 games. They're really just pushing the pace. So my look on this game, as difficult as it, like, I don't know if they'll need to score this many points. I just think that they can kind of dictate pace, would be a look towards the Pacers team total to go over. And it's an ugly look in my opinion, just because they might not need to score 116 points in this spot, but I can't trust the Indiana Pacers defense. Last 5 games, the Pacers are 26th in defensive rating, 27th in opponent effective field goal percentage. They don't force turnovers. If one of those guys get rolled in, or if Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell get rolled in, I think I would just play over, specifically Pacers team total up and over. They've cleared their team total 6 of their last 9 games since they've gotten a little bit healthier, getting Nembhard back. They've cleared 116 in back-to-back games in 3 of their last 4 games. Indiana's been running a ton, 7th in frequency, 3rd in points scored via transition last 5 games. Brooklyn's bottom of the league in giving up transition points and limited transition opportunities. The holdup, like I said, is Brooklyn offense. Their 3rd worst offense over the last 5 games, 5th lowest effective field goal percentage, 2nd highest turnover rate last 5 games. Brooklyn's also shooting a ton of threes, like I said, and missing them like crazy. But Indiana's 3-point defense is kind of middle of the pack last 5 games. They have not been great defensively at all. So that holds me up here with being able to lay such a big number with the Pacers. If Cam Johnson, if D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons are rolled in, I do think that we see an over, but I would kind of wait on those guys. I do like the Pacers team total over a little bit more than anything else. Taylor says, what up, Taylor? He says Halliburton, he or she. Taylor is definitely a either or name, so I'm not going to insinuate that this is a guy. Taylor says Halliburton under points, over assists. Brooklyn ranks number 1 in pick and roll ball handlers versus top 10 teams here. Holly is under in 6 of his last 10 games, correlates to assists versus the same team, over in 7 of his last 10 games. Brooklyn also 26th worst versus spot up shooters. They have been giving it up. Brooklyn defense, the problem here is with the Pacers, they're not shooting a ton of threes. They have been hitting 37% over the last 5 games. In Brooklyn is 24th in opponent 3-point frequency last 5 games. They're allowing teams to shoot 38% from the 3-point line. And teams are jacking up a ton of them. They're giving up the 3rd most above the break threes last 5 games. Something we agree on, Julio. Under specifically with the team total here, in my opinion, for the Orlando Magic. Brian says Pacers tonight. Nets team total under. T-Man says Holly over his 3.5 rebounds been cashing. Brucey likes Tyrese Halliburton point rebounds and assists. Mark says he got -9 last night with the Pacers. Pacers team total over be structure. I like it. Yeah, that makes sense, Jay. They definitely should win tonight. Brem says top of the morning, Chris and Chad. Peace and blessings. Let's cash it. Appreciate you. Justin says backwood, man. Merrill says D-Lo under 27.5 points and assists. Man, it's scary to take an under with the Pacers defense, but best of luck to you, Merrill. Drop a Dime says took the Pacers team total over against the Suns, went right back to the well with this one. So he thinks that they can score. I think they should be able to score too. Pacers team total over 115.5 is what the number was last night. Real quick, today that number is it's up to 116.5. Maybe I should have pulled the trigger last night. I do think that they can score though. If we look at pace numbers real quick, Brooklyn is playing at they're about middle of the pack, 14th over the last 3 games since D'Lo's got there. Pacers are actually 20th in pace, so they're not playing as fast. I do think that they're going to play fast in this game, though. Full season, they're 10th in pace. The Nets are 28th in pace, so the Nets are playing a lot faster the last 5 games. Pace goes from 100 on the full season to last 5 games, 103. So Brooklyn is playing a lot faster. Adonis says both Cam's out. I'll take the Pacers. Holly over his 12.5 rebounds and assists for dropping dimes. Has hit 9 of his last 10 games. That's a good look, dropping dimes. He says maybe a same game Pacers money line Nets plus 10.5 only because the Pacers on the road is a little scary, and I agree with that. Definitely scary. Indiana team total over, even at 116.5 would be the way that I would look. I would wait to see if Ben Simmons and D'Angelo Russell are going to play, though. Both listed as questionable. If they play, they'll score more, which will force the Pacers to have to score more, in my opinion. Next one up, we got Mavs and Grizzlies. Game I guess I did do some homework on it, but not a game that I really love a lot. We'll start with the injury report. We got Luka continue to remain out. I saw Luka not looking good. Like, even with him being out the last few games, he's looked like that. I saw something that said he was like barely walking. Kyrie's also already been ruled out for this game. So why don't you just jump on Memphis? Divisional game. Maybe it is that easy, but Memphis got a long, like, this starting to look like last season with their injury report. They got John Conchar. He's not on the injury report. Desmond Baines listed as doubtful. Tyus Jones is not on the injury report. And Santi Aldama remains out. Luke Kennard is out. Marcus Smart, Vince Williams, Gigi Jackson, of course. I guess a plethora of injuries in this game. You do got a revenge spot here. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if this is going to be prevalent or not for this game, but when I was going through the beat writer stuff for Dallas, it was an injury bug that was kind of going through their locker room. Somebody, I can't remember exactly which player it was saying that like it was hard for them to get out of bed a couple days ago. So not sure if like what'll happen. Maybe you just kind of monitor the injury report here. Dallas they only have Luka, Kyrie, and Dante Exum on the injury report as of right now, but something that you may want to monitor throughout the day. So head-to-head wise, Memphis they lost to Dallas. They should have won that game. They were getting 4 points. They should have won. They were getting 4 points against Dallas earlier this season. Ended up blowing the game because they turned the ball over, I want to say, like 10 times in the fourth quarter. Got outscored by double digits in the fourth quarter specifically. End up losing the game by 5 points the last time that these two teams played. This is not just a conference game, but like I said, a divisional game. So on the Dallas side of things, second straight home game, 4 straight losses, 4 straight non-covers. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. It's the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Lakers coming to town tomorrow in an ESPN game. Maybe that's why Kyrie's sitting in this spot. You got a bigger game. Well, this is a big game because it's a divisional game, but you got the Lakers on TNT on ESPN tomorrow. So something to take into consideration. ESPN or TNT, one of the two. I looked into it already though. And then on the Memphis side of things, they've also been pretty bad. Back-to-back losses against the Kings and the Warriors. Last of a 5-game road trip for them. First game back home after a 5-game road trip, and they've lost and failed to cover three of their last 4 games have the Grizzlies. They've been just really struggling defensively in this spot. This total has come down a lot, 232. I think this opened at 237 is what I saw. And it's actually, 232. I see a 231.5. So a lot of different numbers in this game right now. 4.5 and 5s available on both sides as well. Man, I agree with the total coming down, of course, without Kyrie. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks so far this season, with Luka and Kyrie on the floor, they're averaging 121 points per 100 possessions. Without them, just 107. So they go from a +9 from winning by outscoring their opponents by about 9 points to losing by about 4 points, which is exactly where you see this number at today. I know that they played really, really hard and really tough against the Cleveland Cavaliers the other day, and both of these teams are coming off bad losses. Don't like the spot for either team with the Grizzlies' first game coming back home. Dallas also just look like a shell of themselves without their 2 best players as well. If Desmond Bane plays, I do kind of feel like Memphis first quarter should be the play. I know that they are a shell of themselves as far as the injury report, but Memphis is one of the better first half teams in the NBA, specifically at the crib. So coming back home off a couple of losses, I think is the way that I would play this one. Memphis is 10-2 against the spread coming off a loss, 13-5 against the spread at the crib. And I know that the numbers are even better against the crib at the crib in the first half specifically. So maybe a look towards Memphis early, but nothing I could really get here with in this one. I was also thinking about Jaren Jackson Jr. He typically plays well against the Dallas Mavericks, but his points prop listed a little too high for me at 28.5. I think I'll just stay on the sideline with him as well. I kind of lean Memphis first half, but I don't think I'm going to get there with anything on this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Mark says Pacers good energy and effort and efficient scoring. I agree with that. Scott says Jaren Jackson Jr. over his 3.5 assists. PJ Washington over his 14.5 points would be Philly. He has been killing without Luka and Kyrie. I can see that. Mitchell likes Memphis first half as well. Philly says lean lively under his 8.5 points. But with all the injuries, I don't know if I can get to the window with it. Grimes over his 14.5 points, Merrill says. I know he did have a big game in that last one against Cleveland the other day. Jaren Jackson Jr. over his 2.5 assists, play of the day, Merrill says. Let's go look at this, man. I hear two people already talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. assists. What am I missing? This is definitely something I haven't picked up. Let's see. All right. So we're right back to Outlier, 7-day free trial link in the description of the video for people that are interested in checking out Outlier. We're looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. assists over 2.5. Play of the day is what we're hearing in the comment section. All right, so open 2.5 up to 3.5. You like to see that. Got bet back down to 2.5, back up to 3.5. So you might be able to get a 2.5. Let's see. 2.5 is minus 160. Ooh, that's ugly. All right, so Jaren Jackson Jr. up and over 5 of his last 10 games. Let's see. Let's go full season. Let's go at the crib. So 5 and 6 in 2 of his last 3 games at home. Let's filter this to games played without. Let's just say Desmond Bane is ruled out, and let's say Ja Morant is out as well. And let's take it off home games. Oh, I don't know what y'all. What are we seeing here? I don't see what y'all are seeing. In games without Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. has not hit this number at all. He's 0-4 to the under. All right, let's take these two guys out. Let's just say Desmond Bane. Let's say Desmond Bane does play. Only once. That's head to head. The Desmond Bane in. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Last 10 games with Desmond Bane in. I guess if you had the 2.5, he's hit this a lot because that'd be 2 more. That'd be 7 of the last 10 if you got 2.5. But number already moved to 3.5. So I don't like this one as much. Not at 3.5. That's why it's a plus 155. Book's not giving out free money. Okay, so maybe 2.5. Maybe people got it early. All right, let's go back, get to a couple more comments, and then get to the next one. Najee should be back, I think, bro. I think he should be back in this one. Yeah, he's not on the injury report. So Najee should be back. Should be his first game back after the suspension. Because Nurkic, I think him and Nurkic got the same thing. Scott says PJ Washington and Hardy going to control the ball. I agree with that. Jackson's on Dallas here. Memphis look like Memphis hustle. Look like the Memphis hustle in this spot. Solid, absolutely fundamentally sound, Brian says. Why is the total so high with all these injuries? I'm with you, Dean. This is a pretty high. I mean, it's already dropped 5 points, but I'm with you. This is a ton of points. We know that the Grizzlies play fast. Dallas don't mind playing fast, but I think this total is a tad bit too high too, especially with it being a divisional game. I mean, you're already kind of getting the worst of the line with it coming down 5 points already. But if you like it, you want to play it now because it may continue to go down. If Desmond Bane gets ruled in, it might go up though. So we'll see. Tasha says no Morant, can't touch it. Leaning Mavs plus the 5. PJ Washington and Grimes over their points. May play Clay to hit 3+ threes. Okay. Euphoria says can't take the Mavs plus 4.5. Get in and get out for me. So first quarter, first half. Frankie, good morning to you. Brian says this version of the Grizzlies, the last 2 games, I'm off the first quarter. I can't. They've looked pretty bad. J-Man says Grizzlies want Jimmy Butler. I did see some talks that they want Jimmy Butler. I don't think that would fit. I feel like all the teams Jimmy want play fast, in my opinion. Mark says he's leaning Memphis first half. Dallas having trouble without Luka and Kyrie last 4-5. I agree with that. First half would be the top look in this game, in my opinion. Jalen says just tapping in. What's up, Chris? In chat, pass on this one. Dropping Dime says Jalen Wells under his 19.5 points and assists has comfortably went under 9 of the last 10. I bet you the game that didn't go under was the game that he played in Sacramento. I had no idea he was from Sacramento. He had like 50 family and friends there in that game, and he balled out in that game. I should have faded him against Golden State the other day off of that on the second leg of a back-to-back. I totally forgot about it, and I looked at the box score. He only had 8 points. So this is a good look by Dropping Dimes. I agree with that. Let's see. Memphis bounce back spot for Adonis. She says this slate smells. Scott says she not lying. Yeah, I'm not. I don't really love this one too much. Next game up, let's go Clippers and Timberwolves. I did bet this one as well. I think I made 4 plays. I sent them out early this morning, like 2:00 this morning. We got line come down to 2.5 and total up to 214.5. Looks like it opened 213.5. So injury report here for the Clippers. First and foremost, we have nobody on the injury report, just PJ Tucker, who continues to be out, not even with the team. On the Timberwolves side of things, nobody either. Rob Dillingham is out. He's been out for a significant amount of time here. So a lot to break down here. I got 2 plays here. So you got, first and foremost, you got a double revenge spot here for the Clippers. They've lost back-to-back games against the Timberwolves. For whatever reason, they have not been able to beat the Timberwolves. We were on them in the last game. They played them in the first game that they matched up. We were on them in that spot. They were getting 5.5 or 6.5, and they lost the game by 1 point. That game was 90. They were getting 6.5 on November the 29th. They lost that game 93-92. So we cashed that one. They lost by 28 points at the crib as a 3.5 point dog. The next time they played the Timberwolves, this is when the Timberwolves were really good defensively. Remember that Timberwolves team that was like holding people to like 88 points? Neither here nor there. Both games went under the total. 8-2 to the under are the totals in the last 10 matchups between these two teams. They're very familiar with each other. So we got a Clippers team coming off 1 day's rest. They beat the brakes off the Atlanta Hawks, beat them by 26 at home to end a 3-game losing streak and a 2-game straight up losing streak, a 3-game ATS streak and a 2-game straight up losing streak. They lost to OKC and then they lost to San Antonio in back-to-back games to the Clippers. And they got Kawhi back. Kawhi is expected to play in this game. He played 19 minutes in the last game against the Atlanta Hawks. You could say he was kind of capped at 20 minutes, or you could say Atlanta just sucked, so they didn't even need him anymore. But neither here nor there. He played about 20 minutes, looked really good, shot the ball really well. Defensively, they're light. They're so much better with him with Kawhi on the floor. They also got Terrence Mann back. Terrence Mann is a plus defender for this Clippers team as well. So you're looking at Minnesota on the Minnesota side of things. Where do we start? 4-6 straight up, 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. They've lost 3 straight to OKC, Boston, and then most recently to Detroit when I had them in a little rare money line parlay the other day. Smoked the money line parlay. 5 straight overs for the Timberwolves. And the first leg of a back-to-back. They got a game against the Pelicans tomorrow in New Orleans. Interesting note. After they lost to Detroit the other day, Anthony Edwards declined to even talk to the media. He didn't even want to talk to him. Mike Conley did, though. He said, quote, "Right now, it's just like an off timing with the way that we've been playing. We're inconsistent with the approach to the game. When we come out there, there's one game we have a lot of energy, others that we don't. One game we compete a bit more than others we don't." And then, Chris Finch continues to be asked about changing up the starting lineup. Like, It don't sound like he's going to do it, but, people are wondering if he's going to end up bringing Rudy Gobert off the bench and starting Naz Reid for more spacing, blah, 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 blah. What this really comes down to when I was looking into it, just kind of what I've seen and then what the beat writers are saying is that Mike Conley's taking a big step back. He's taking a humongous step back. I haven't looked into this, but I want to see what his points prop is today. He's taking a big step back. Jaden Daniels can't make shots. Like, this is a very, very inconsistent team. So they're thinking about, or at least what the beat writers are saying is that, maybe Mike Conley comes off the bench and you start Dante DiVincenzo, and maybe Rudy Gobert moves to the bench and you end up starting Naz Reid, because you can't move Julius Randle to the bench and start Naz Reid. That, Lord forbid we did something like that. But that's what, they're trying to kind of thinking about, shaking up the lineup. Long story short, man, I played the Clippers here. Double revenge by here. Looking a lot better than the Timberwolves. Looking at Minnesota, 12th in offensive rating last 5 games. So not necessarily hasn't been like they aren't playing great offense. So because they are 12th, but the Clippers, 9th best defensive rated team. Minnesota shooting the second most threes last 5 games. That's all they really want to do is shoot a bunch of threes. They're making second most threes last 5 games, and they're making the second highest percentage at 41.4% are the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Clippers, they're holding teams to 28.6% from above the break 3, which is the second best in the NBA over the last 5 games. So their 3-point defense has been really, really good. That's all the Clippers, that's all the Timberwolves really want to do is shoot a bunch of threes. On the full season, Clippers have been great from the 3-point line as well. They're 4th best 3-point defense on the full season. So I think that's the reason why the game goes under. I don't think Minnesota's going to play with pace. I look at the Pacers. I'm sorry, not the Pacers. I look at the Timberwolves. They're abysmal at the crib. 4-11 against the spread at home. 6-11 against the spread off a loss. So you automatically think sometimes, all right, this team's going to bounce back. That's not been happening for this Minnesota team. Like I said, they're only 6-9 against the spread when they're coming off a loss. The Clippers on the other side, 21-14 against the spread overall, 16-12 against the conference, and 12-7 against the spread off a win. So they've been doing well in this spot. Also played the team total under on the Minnesota side of things. I don't think that they get to 109 points. So I did play under 108.5. I think that number is still currently available. 108.5 is available on a couple books, and then 107.5 is available on a couple books as well. But I just talked about it. The Clippers defensive rating, I didn't say this, but Clippers defensive rating in the short time frame that Kawhi did play was a 90. They absolutely locked Atlanta up in that game, and that was a game that Trae Young did play. And I know they didn't have Jalen Johnson, but this feels like with them being healthy, getting Kawhi back, getting Terrence Mann back. Minnesota also 27th in pace last 5 games, which is bottom 7th in transition frequency. I like the Clippers to go in here and lock up Minnesota at the crib, man. Under 108.5. And I took the points +3. It's come down to 2.5. We'll see how it goes, but I did play both of those. Half unit on both, in my opinion. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. And I do kind of want to look into, I'll do that off air, but Mike Conley, we got to start looking. We got to start investing in Mike Conley unders. I don't know if it's points. I don't know if he just get less minutes, but he's been terrible recently. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. Kawhi is in. He should be in, bro. He definitely should be in. JR Grizzy says Clippers on the money line. Scott says, do I try Powell and hope not to get hooked over 20.5 points? I think with the healthy roster, Scott, Powell shouldn't be needed to score as many points. You got Terrence Mann back. You got Kawhi back. If he gets cooking, though, I mean, he could absolutely go off. Clips look good. Kawhi back. Give me Clips. Might play the money line, C-Ray says. Brian says Clippers first half full game. Euphoria says Clippers first quarter and under 52.5. I can see first quarter under. Zubac under 12.5 rebounds. Harden under 20.5 points. Randall under 33.5 points plus rebounds for V Philly. Okay. The Harden under 20.5 points makes a lot of sense. I'm going to write that one down too. James Harden under 20.5 points. I just said it. Norman Powell could get hot. Kawhi's back. Terrence Mann is back. I don't think, and the Timberwolves still a good defensive team, just not when they're playing the Pistons. Wolves own the Clippers. Real DJX says that's why I like the Clippers today. J-Man says, I'm actually looking now where I want to go. I got Randall under 27.5 points plus rebounds. James under 20.5 points. I had Edwards under 4.5 assists. But I don't know, man. House of Disappointment vibe says. Shout out to Jay. Clipper spread in game under. But Hyman Binks. I like it. Minnesota spot for me, JoJo says. Wolves 7-3 against the spread, last 10 against the Clippers, and also 2-0 at home versus them. Not 2-0 against the spread because they didn't cover the last one, J-Man. Did not cover the last one. I don't like Minnesota at the crib, but Clippers suck on the road, DJX says. I don't think the Clippers suck on the road. Do they suck on the road? I don't think so. Let's see. Clippers are, put 3 Ps. Clippers are 8-9 straight up on the road, 8-1 against the spread. So they don't suck on the road. And they're healthier. They also 11-5-1 to the under on the road. So they play a lot better defense on the road. That makes sense. Let's see. Merrill likes Randall over his assists. Wolves' favorites, take the other team. Mark says T-Wolves playing bad ball right now. Fade or pass. Clips money line. Took the Clips money line. I know people was gonna like the Clippers today. I like them today as well. Real DJX says he likes the full game to go under. Yeah, after that over in the last one, I would look more towards the under in this one as well. Rudy Gobert over 1.5 assists. All right. All right, enough on that game. Sounds like people kind of going back and forth. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't miss the. Oh no, I didn't miss it. It's the next game up. I'm like, I didn't even talk about the Bulls and the Spurs. They started at the same time. So Spurs and Bulls next game up. We got the Spurs the Bulls getting 3 points. Now they did open as a 1.5 point dog. Total is about where it opened 236 and a half. It's still kind of lingering around that range. So this is another one that I did play. San Antonio, no injuries, nobody on the injury report here. Chicago will still be without Torrey Craig and without Ayo DeSumo. Both of those guys have not been playing recently. So looking at the spot for the San Antonio Spurs, it wasn't a great spot. It's not a great spot. Third game in 4 nights. They're also coming off the overtime game against Denver. Second leg, in which was a second leg of a back-to-back. But the Spurs have been hooping, man. 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 games. They were 9-1 against the spread before losing to Denver in overtime. 3 straight unders for San Antonio. On the Chicago side, coming off a big win against the New York Knicks the other day as a dog. They're 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games, but did score 139 points versus the Knicks the other day. That was more of a fatigue spot for the Knicks coming off the game against OKC, in my opinion. Both of these teams do play really fast. They're top 10 in pace last 5 games, with the Bulls being number 1. But going back to the spot here for the San Antonio Spurs, and they will match the 2 teams up on the floor. So the Spurs are in this spot that I talked about, where they were on the second leg of a back-to-back, and they went to overtime. I think that's typically a phase spot. The San Antonio Spurs, though, are a pretty young team outside of Chris Paul. You got Jeremy Sohan in year number 3. Harrison Barnes, of course, is old, but they got enough depth, in my opinion, with Champagnie coming off the bench. Devin Vassell still pretty young. Victor, of course, is super young. Just turned 21. Happy belated birthday to Victor Wembanyama, or 20, however old he is. So I looked into the spot, right? You got favorites in this game coming off an overtime game that was also second leg of a back-to-back. They've not been profitable. 150, 160, and 6 against the spread in the Killer Sports database. So it's 55% trend towards the under, however, in this spot. If they're a road favorite, though, so the book's giving this team the advantage, right? So stay with me. You got a second leg. You got a team that was playing on the second leg of a back-to-back that also went to overtime, but now they're a road favorite in the next game. 57-19 straight up, 48-27-1 against the number. Strong trend towards San Antonio here. Chicago. So then we started to match the 2 teams up on the floor. I mentioned both teams playing fast. San Antonio, 3rd best defensive rated team over the last 5 games. Chicago taking a ton of shots from the 3-point line. They're shooting the 4th most threes, making them at the 5th highest percentage. They're shooting 39% from the 3-point line collectively over the last 5 games. San Antonio, the #1 defensive rated team in the NBA against the 3-point shot over the last 5 games. They're also the best transition defense. We know Chicago likes to get out and push. Chicago should struggle to be able to struggle to score against San Antonio. I think San Antonio can lock them up here. Looking at San Antonio on the road, 9-6 against the spread. As far as some trends go, 8-5 against the spread is a favorite. 11-5 coming off a loss. Looking at Chicago, extremely inconsistent team. They're only 2-7 against the spread in non-conference games, so maybe they don't even care about this one. We'll see. The Bulls are also 5-9-1 against the spread when they're coming off a win. So super inconsistent team on the Bulls. Exactly when you can't trust them is when they're coming off a win. If they're coming off a win as a dog, 3-7 straight up, 2-8 against the spread in their next game. I played San Antonio money line -130 on ESPN. I think it was -130, -133 on FanDuel or ESPN Bet, one of those. I don't think I wrote that part in my notes, but I like that a lot. San Antonio is the spot in this game, in my opinion. Just took them on the money line. Number has moved a little bit, but I think you can still get like a -135, -140. As far as player props in this game, I was looking at Chris Paul up and over his assists. The number is 8.5. The books have moved it a little bit, but they are giving you plus money at +106 over on FanDuel last night when I wrote it in my notes. So bumped it a little bit, and that's because they're expecting the pace to be fast. I just mentioned Chicago playing at the fastest pace. The Bulls also give up the most assists to the point guard position. Last 10 games, Chris Paul's up and over his 7.5 in 7 of the 10 games. Bulls allowing the third most assists overall, second most assists to the point guard position. Last 10 games, Chris Paul is averaging about 16 potential assists in 31 minutes per game. So this feels like a Chris Paul 10 assist game for sure. So 8.5 doesn't really scare me. Haven't locked that one in yet, but it's one of my favorite player props on the board for today. It's Chris Paul up and over his assists. All right, let's see what you guys are thinking here. Bulls money line. The lead says, I like the Spurs low key. Scary game. Wemby points up and over 26.5. Wemby 20 and 20 game. I can see it, cool. He's been killing. Wemby has been killing, man. Spurs for Sheed. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Spurs first quarter full game. They're rolling right now, Brian says. Dropping Dimes just called me crazy. I like the under in this one. Everything that I just said, Dropping Dimes, makes so much sense for under here. The reason I couldn't get there is because of pace. But the Spurs, I talked about liking the under against the Nuggets in both games, and they like I said, they went under 3 straight games. The pace is just going to be a little bit too fast in this spot, in my opinion, though. But I could see contrarian under here. Could definitely see it. Especially the way both teams defend the 3-point line. And Chicago only wants to shoot threes. Kobe White hit 9 threes, I think, in the last game. That shouldn't be there for him in this spot. So maybe a Chicago team total under in this spot, because San Antonio is definitely going to come with the defense, in my opinion. So maybe that's how we look at it, Dropping Dimes. Tasha says, I like the over. Bulls been playing good ball as well. I guess, Julio. They just lost by 18 to the Wizards, but I guess. AK says, yo, Chris, not sure if covered, but Plumlee into the starting 5. Yeah, I did say that. Over his 1.5 first quarter points has to be worth a look. Just needing 1 bucket. Don't let me talk you off. Lee says the Bulls, don't overthink it. Okay. Only thing I trust is over 236. Spurs money line. You scared? No, I played it already. Dougie Bone says Spurs good 3-point defense makes sense. You can run them off the line hard with Wemby down there. You don't have to help off shooters with Wemby down there. That's a fact. Wemby for Merrill over his 26.5 points. Likes his over 3.5 threes as well. Same game parlay, put them together. He also likes Chris Paul over his 8 assists. I like it as well. Mark also dropping that the Spurs have covered 8 of their last 9. Yeah, if they didn't go to overtime, it would have been even more. Let's see. Taylor says Wemby 4+ threes at +124 on DraftKings, over in 8 of his last 9 games, averaging 5.4 versus teams ranked 10th or worse. Versus the above the break 3, Chicago ranks 24th worse Wemby over in 8 of his 10 games versus teams top 10 in threes allowed. Chicago 25th in most threes allowed. Yeah, Spurs smoking the Bulls today. They will smoke the Bulls today. And Wemby should go up and over his 3-point prop. I like this, Taylor. I like this a lot. I'm not going to add anything else because I like the CP3. I think it assists a little bit more. But that makes a lot of sense here for Wemby to get back on track with these threes. Malik, Chicago guy, says the only reason I joined the show this morning to go against Chris. Bulls +3. We can still win, Malik. If you had Lakers +4.5 yesterday and you had Rockets -4, you both won. With the game landing right on 4. Well, Chicago. I'm sorry, Houston got a push, but right on the 4. So you can still, Bulls could lose this game by 2, and I'd be happy. Lots of second chance points for San Antonio. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Bulls get ran off the floor tonight. That's just my opinion, though. We'll see how it goes. I know a lot of people gonna want to back the Bulls because they just beat the Knicks, but we'll see. We shall see. They've been very inconsistent. Spurs, I think, are the right side. We'll see. Let's see. Next game up, last game on the board, we got the Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings. This was a game I did not dive too deeply into. I really don't know what to do with the game. I will tell you guys a couple things, though. We'll break it down. I'm having trouble here. So Miami do have Josh Richardson listed as out. Howard Haysmith is listed as questionable for personal reasons. Not sure what's going on with him. And of course, Jimmy Butler is serving the second of a 7-game suspension. May never even put on another Miami Heat jersey. We'll see how that goes. De'Aaron Fox did not play yesterday, dealing with the glute injury, second leg of a back-to-back for them. Not sure if he's going to be back in this game or not. It didn't even really matter. I mean, they beat the brakes off the Golden State Warriors last night. Beat them by 30. So I think he's the only person listed here, but Sacramento, of course, can put their injury report out a little late. This line did open at 2.5 and moved to 3.5. I think it touched 4. Now it's coming back down to 3.5. So you got a revenge spot here for the Miami Heat. They lost by 1 point, 111 to 110, as a 1-point favorite in Miami earlier this season. So if you like the revenge angle, that's something for you for Miami. Miami's also coming off a game where they actually literally got smoked. 2 games where they've actually lost, but last game they actually got smoked. So back-to-back losses and non-covers, both by double digits. The most recent one being by 36 points to the Utah Jazz. The 36-point loss was their worst loss in 4 years. You got to go all the way back to December the 29th, 2020. So back to when COVID was going on. They lost to the Bucks by 47. They are 7-4 straight up, 8-3 against the spread in their franchise history after losing by 35 points or more. It's the first game on the West Coast for them and the first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Golden State Warriors tomorrow. The problem I'm having here with the loss against the Jazz is that if you want to back Miami in a bounce back spot, they didn't really get any practice time. Only one day of travel where you go straight from Miami to Sacramento because you're traveling all the way across the country in this spot. Whereas Sacramento, second leg of a back-to-back, yeah, but they could have rode in a car to Golden State. It's not a short flight, not a long flight at all. So Sacramento, like I said, second leg of back-to-back. They've won 4 straight games now. They smoked the Warriors by 30 last night, even without Fox. Short flight back. Had 2 days of rest before this game today, so probably not too fatigued. And they've actually scored 129 points and 138 points in their last 2 games. Smoked the Grizzlies, smoked the Warriors. Can they get the job done here by 4? I'm not putting my money on the Kings, even though they have been playing a little bit better recently. Don't want the Heat either, just because without Jimmy Butler, offense looks like a shell of itself. Do they play with a little bit more effort? Yes, but I thought that they would play with effort after losing and getting smoked by the Pacers when they had rest in that spot as well. So I'm not touching this game. This will be another one where I just kind of sit and watch. Can't quite get there with anything in this game, though. I will tell you guys real quick, if we look at Miami, this is one thing I have been paying attention to. Miami without Jimmy Butler on the floor this season, offense has struggled a lot. So with Jimmy Butler on the floor, averaging 120 points per 100 possessions, giving up 115, so they're +5. With Jimmy Butler off the floor, they're only scoring 109 and giving up 111. So they're -1.2. 1.5 without Jimmy Butler on the floor. Yeah, I don't think I could quite get there with the Kings either, though. Like I said, the Kings have been real quick to put some numbers to the Kings, even though that they have, they've been covering as of late. Sacramento is still just 6-13 against the spread at home. Still just 9-16 against the spread as a favorite. Still just 1-7 against the spread with the rest disadvantage. Still 3-5, against the conference, against non-conference games, and coming off a win, they're only 6-9 against the spread. So I don't like that for them. It does kind of feel like they turned over a new leaf a little bit. They've been scoring the ball a lot, and like I said, the Miami Heat defense. If you can't stop the Jazz, in my opinion, good luck trying to stop the Kings. Kings been really kind of running it up. Their 3-point shots finally starting to go in. Sabonis had a big game yesterday, as anticipated. Malik Monk had a double-double with a rack of assists. He's been scoring the ball well. The new rookie Carter, he's been scoring the ball well for them. Keegan Murray off the bench came back, had a really good game for them yesterday. Trey Lyles has been playing good. Well, Trey Lyles off the bench. Keegan Murray back in the starting rotation. Can't quite get there on this game, man. Just kind of giving you guys some thoughts. Let's see what is being said about this one. We'll jump into a quick recap. These are not my beats, Captain Matumbo. Nah, these are not my beats, man. Let's see. What up, Chad? Appreciate Chad for tapping in. Kings money line. Where is it? I don't know, man. Justin says he took +4 and he took the money line. Jose says Miami team total under. He not looking too bad, Jalen. I mean, it looked terrible in that first game against the Lakers. But they really figured it out offensively. Let's see real quick to put some numbers to the Kings offense, because they were struggling to score. They were playing slow. On the full season, Kings still the 8th best offense. Last 5 games, they're 5th in offensive efficiency. 121.7. 5th in offensive rebound rate, 12th in turnover rate. So they protect the ball really well. Shooting it at 55.6% effective field goal percentage. The threes are finally starting to fall. I think that's what it is for Sacramento. They're playing super fast, 13th in frequency, 4th in points scored per 100 possessions in transition. Miami defensively is falling off a cliff. Worst defensive rated team last 5 games. Now, could that turn in this spot? And do you expect them to be locked in? Absolutely. But 30th in defensive rating over the last 5 games for the Miami Heat. They can't defend the 3-point line. Bottom 10 defending the 3-point line. Bottom 10 defending the rim. Giving up a ton of points in transition. It's tough, man. It's tough. It really is tough here. Sabonis under for B Philly, under 21.5 points. Hero under his 5.5 assists. Bam over his 13.5 rebounds and assists. Let's see. Drop a dime. It's got to be a Miami spot. Kings here. Miami look like that Jimmy situation wearing on them. It kind of do, man. Getting blown out by Utah. Can do the Kings money line in the points. Miami +3.5 for Bryant. So a couple people like Miami. I see Justin like him. Brian like him. Hero over his 23.5 points. Tasha says she can't trust him without Jimmy. Malik Monk over 4.5 assists. Hero over his 3.5 threes. Kings money line for the Lees. Let's see. Kings money line again. Chad says he likes the Spurs. Like the agreement there. He likes the Grizzlies. I like the first half. Clips. So we align here. Didn't bet the Sixers, but I know why I know why you're not on them, Chad. And he likes the Raptors plus the points. Okay, so Milan here with Chad. I'm on the Spurs. I'm on the Clips. I lean Grizzlies first half. Might not get there with that one though. And didn't bet the Sixers or the Raptors game, but do lean towards that Raptors team total under. Let's see. Not fading the Kings at home for the rest of the season. Okay. Malik Monk over his 5.5 assists for Peasy. Lee says he says it's not that complicated. Just take the Kings on the money line. What you laying like what's the Kings money line right now? Best Kings money line price. I don't like taking money lines at -1. This -155. That's tough. That is tough. Jimmy want to get paid, Lee says. I mean, he already paid. I don't know if you know what his contract is. Jimmy paid. Jimmy is paid, my brother. He is paid. Keely says, I'll be happily asleep while this game's going on. Not messing with it. E-Town thinks Miami gets smoked as well. So we got some contrarian looks on both sides. All right, we done a really good job, I feel like, on this slate for today, man. A couple official plays that I locked in. Let's get into a quick recap and get up off here, man. If you joined late, you can go back and catch all the analysis for all the rest of the other games. Let me just get this. Let me get this pulled up. So, all right, here is the quick recap of things that we talked about. Well, not that we talked about. Yeah, things that we talked about. So we'll go here. I already had these typed out because I sent out some plays last night. So the Orlando team total under is an official play. Minnesota team total under is an official play. San Antonio on the money line is an official play. And then Clippers +3 is what I got them at last night. Love the look on this under between Portland and Detroit. I may end up pulling the trigger on that one. Not sure if I pull the trigger, but I do think it's an under spot. Total going back up right now too at 226.5. So you may get an even better number. I think it's gonna be an under game though. My numbers say under. Toronto team total under to kind of stay away from what Milwaukee's gonna do. I think this number is 112.5 for Toronto. Damian Lillard's in a great bounce back spot to go up and over his 3-point prop. The 76ers game, in my opinion, Paul George under his points plus rebounds at 22.5 is the best look on the board in that game. Not going to continue to fade Phoenix. I feel like eventually they're gonna get right, especially with Philly coming off a big win against the Brooklyn Nets in their last game. The Indiana team total is moved up now. It's not 115.5, it's 116.5. So I'll probably just keep that a lean. But if D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons end up playing, I do think that game goes up and over the total. And the pace is definitely going to get to their team total, in my opinion. D'Angelo Russell is great for totals to go up and over because he's a negative defender and a plus offensive guy. And then, like I said, Minnesota, I am on their team total under today. Clippers +3, San Antonio money line. And the CP3 up and over is 8.5 assists. I like the look that Taylor mentioned with Wemby to go up and over his threes, but I'm not going to take that many plays. If I was going to add anything based on what I've heard throughout the show, the Knicks first half, I forgot who, I think Justin gave it out. First half -6.5 should be a good number with the Orlando Magic being depleted. Mike Conley under his points, I'm going to look a little deeper into, and James Harden under his 20.5 assists. That's 20.5 points is what I had written down on my short list. So those are the plays for myself today. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 official plays. A couple other things I'm trying to get to the window with. It's a huge slate today. What is it? 3, 6, 9 games, 4 official plays. Let's go 4-0 today, man. I need it. 4-0 to start the week off. Best of luck on your action today, man. Resources that I use to handicap the games are all here. 7-day free trial with Outlier. The link is in the description of the video. 50% off at jaXon. Whatever tier you sign up for. Same thing for Moneyballer. 50% off your first month. Check out, man. OzJam on here. 20% off using referral code CBC. Best of luck on whatever it is that you do play, man. Have a great Monday. Enjoy the snow if you got some. I'm about to go shovel. Get out there with my son. Have a little snowball fight. And I will be back to do Cal's show at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy your Monday, man. I'm out.